Hey guys, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to build the base class for our quests. We're going to define a few properties that all of our quests are going to share and a couple of methods that we'll be using throughout all of our quests. And to do that, I want to get started by creating a new C# script called quest. Open that up and reload. Now, quest is going to be a mono behavior because we're going to use it as a component on an object in our scene. And I don't want any of these though. I don't need any of the mono behavior methods. And I'm going to define a few properties first. So what do we need? We need a list of goals, so we know what goals the quest requires. We need a couple of properties for maybe the item reward and the experience reward if we have that as an option for the reward. Maybe the name of the quest and the description of the quest if you want to use that to represent the quest in your game world. So I'll just create a property that's going to be a list, and it's going to be a list of goals, right? And I want to call it goals, just like that. And now I can initialize this list of goals using the auto implementing property and then equals new list goal, because I am using the experimental version of .NET. I think it's 4.6 that Unity is using as the cutting edge version with C# 6.0. This is not available in the default C# version and the default .NET version that Unity comes with. You can access that by going to Edit, Project Settings, go down to Player, PC, go down to Other Options, Other Settings, and change this to .NET 4.6 equivalent. And then you'll have access to a few new language features and a few new library features as well. Not necessary, we could do this without this, but I like keeping it nice and tidy. Then I want a property that's going to be a string, and I'm going to call it quest name. And then I want a property as the description. It's going to be the quest description. Then I want a property that is going to be an integer, and it will be experience reward. The amount of rewarded experience you get for completing the quest. And then a property that is an item type that will be an item reward. Item reward. There you go. So that's all I need for now. All I can think of, at least, that we'll be needing for this. And the first method I want to create is going to be the method that checks all of the goals associated with this quest to see if it should complete the quest. So if all the goals are completed, if they are all completed, then the quest should be completed as well. If there is one goal that is not completed, then the quest is not complete. So we don't need to mark the quest as complete. And speaking of that, I need a property to know if this quest is completed. So let's create, let's see here. Let's create I'm trying to think of how we can approach this. The method is going to be checking for the goals, is going to be accessed in the inherited class. So say the Ultimate Slayer class that inherits from quest. And the goal, whenever it gets completed, say a goal gets completed on that quest, it's then going to call this method that checks to see if it should be completed. So we'll just have it be public. It'll be a void, and we're going to just call it check goals. And all we're going to do for this is we're going to use a method for our list from the link namespace. I'm not sure if we've used link throughout this course or not. System.link. It's simply a query library that allows us to create queries over a collection of data, in this case a collection of goals. And it will allow us to define queries based on a condition, right? Like is a member of this item in this collection equal to this? If it is, that's the one I'm looking for. If you're familiar with something like SQL, right? You're creating these queries to look over data in a database. Think of it something like that. So what I want to do is it's going to be a conditional, and we're going to create a method here that's going to check to see if anything in the goals list is not completed. So if anything in the goals list is not completed, that means there is a goal that we still have to do before we complete the quest. So I'm going to go through goals, and it's a method called all. And this is going to check to make sure that all of something is equal to whatever I'm checking, right? So if I say all, And you're going to use the lambda operator like we have in the past for our stat system, where we can define a value and then check the value inside of itself here as a lambda expression on the right and the definition on the left. So I'm going to call it G for goal, lambda operator, and then say G.completed, because that is a Boolean that's going to be true or false depending on if the goal is completed. So if this finds one in all of the goals that we have on this quest that is false, this will return as false. If it does not find one that is false, it will return as true, meaning all the goals are completed. So what do we want to do? Whatever we do in here. We're going to have a void here called complete. And I'm just going to call complete whenever that resolves as true. And then we'll complete it right here. And all this is going to do for now is set completed to be equal to true. And what we could do actually is set completed to be equal to the result of this. So as an example, if I took this, since it returns true or false, right? I could say completed is equal to that. Because this will return as a Boolean, true or false, and this is looking for a true or false, so it makes sense. So why don't we just do that? Sorry to waste your time with that. But I was just thinking, I'm not sure if we need more information from that method. If all it's doing is setting this to be true, then we can simply do that right there and keep it in one statement. And then I want to have a give reward method that happens when a quest is deemed completed. So we can in fact just create a method. It's going to be a void method, and it's going to be called give reward. And what I can do, since we just did this change thinking that we didn't need anything else, I'll just say if completed, then give reward. Now, I know some of you probably do not like these inline if statements like this, but with this kind of thing, it seems kind of simple to do. What it's going to do is give the player the item, and then also, if you have experience rewards, give the player experience. So I'm going to first check to see if item reward is not equal to null. So if we have an item to give, I then want to take and go through the inventory controller instance.give item and pass it the item reward, right? So if you have an item to give it. And also the experience reward, which I don't know how we do referencing the player yet. Let's see how we handle this from the combat system. So we could hook this up with a different style of an event here so that we're not only looking for the enemy death, but we're looking for anything that grants experience to the player. So we can easily hook up our quest system with an event system that will fire off an event whenever a quest is completed, and then just listen for that in our player level, in fact, and then just grant experience based on the quest that was completed. Pass it as a parameter like we do for the enemies, right? Pass the quest object that has the experience reward value on it to player level, and then use that to grant experience. And we could do that, but we may do that later on because I want to actually get the base system out of the way before we hook up other things that don't really matter, that you may not even have in your game. So I'm going to have, for now, just gives the item reward as a reward. And this is going to be all we need for the quest base class. And we will continue the rest of this system in the next episode. Questions, forum.gogamegrind.com. Support me, patreon.com/GameGrind if you're interested in supporting the channel and also getting my assets as a reward. Achievement system and a cool little stat tracking system for anything you want to use them for. Patreon.com/GameGrind. My name is Austin and I will see you next time.